If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine, and maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them, from disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite. I am your host, Jim Chapman, and we are back with the part 3 of the Mica Miller series as part of our Exposed Investigate series. And the last time that I left you, the Mica Miller case was really heating up. Police had determined and issued a statement in conjunction with the medical examiner from Myrtle Beach that had determined Mica Miller's death to be a suicide. And in addition, the police issued a report of the movements of J.P. Miller. And that was in an effort to tamp down the massive amount of chatter online that he killed Mica Miller. Now, they released pictures of his vehicle being taken from a license plate reader nowhere near Mica Miller's death scene, if you will. They spoke to witnesses who corroborated his attendance at an athletic event the evening prior, and he was out of town. And one of those pictures from the license plate cameras even showed his vehicle well away from the state park at the time Mica was actually making the alleged suicide call. So J.P. Miller, he gets an attorney who releases a statement. And I have that statement in front of me. I'm going to read it to you real quick. It's dated May 9th of 2024, and it says, clarification regarding the passing of Mica Miller. The law offices of Russell B. Long, on behalf of our client, Pastor John Paul Miller, issues this press release to clarify the circumstances surrounding the tragic passing of Mica Miller. Following the untimely death of Mica Miller, unfounded rumors and false accusations began circulating on social media and various media outlets, suggesting Pastor Miller's involvement in her demise. This created a buzz, causing local and national media outlets to begin proliferating these falsehoods on a mammoth proportion. Our client refutes any report that suggests he ever abused his wife. Recent reports claim that Pastor Miller groomed his wife from the age of 10, and that could not be further from the truth. She moved to Myrtle Beach at the age of 15, was married to another man at the age of 18, and divorced at the age of 21. It has come to light that Mica Miller has struggled with mental illness, specifically bipolar disorder, which, when not properly managed, led to paranoid episodes and self-destructive behavior. Again, Mica suffered from mental illness, and some reports made by her in the recent past are nonsensical. This unfortunate reality underscores the importance importance of destigmatizing mental health issues and ensuring those affected receive appropriate support and treatment. We wish to emphasize that after a thorough investigation by the Robeson County, North Carolina Sheriff's Office, it has been conclusively determined that Miss Miller's death was the result of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. This finding completely exonerates Pastor Miller of any wrongdoing. These baseless claims and false reporting have caused immense distress and harm to Pastor Miller and his family and needs to stop immediately. We hereby demand that all individuals and media outlets cease and desist from perpetrating these harmful falsehoods. Any further dissemination of defamatory and libelous statements will be met with legal action. A complete inventory of these defamatory and libelous statements has been conducted. Those that have to date violated Pastor Miller's right to live in peace and to mourn the passing of his wife respectively will be held accountable. Those that choose to allow any previously posted or published false statements about Pastor Miller to remain in the public domain can expect to be served with civil litigation against them individually, and when appropriate, their media organizations and managerial supervisors can expect the same. We all have the right to free speech, but not speech which is false and harmful to the subject of that speech. Many media outlets have reached out to Pastor Miller for comment, and we direct all future requests for comment to be directed to Attorney Russell B. Long and his Myrtle Beach office. We appreciate your cooperation in respecting Pastor Miller's right to grieve and mourn his wife's passing without undue interference and slander, and it's signed Russell B. Long. So, J.P. Miller ramping up and threatening those who he says were slandering him or may plan on slandering him in the future. So Mica Miller's family, now, regardless of what they believe the final outcome was as it relates to the cause of death of Mica Miller, they certainly, like most of us, if not all of us, believe that J.P. Miller was possibly complicit in it due to the massive amount of abuse he threw her way, allegedly. So they get their own attorney, a lady by the name of Regina Ward, and she takes to the media, regardless of that statement I just read you, and she spoke on behalf of the family. And here's what that sounded like.
That she was brainwashed by this man. He abused her in every possible way that there is. Financially, he abused her by taking away things, phones, access to money, took away her car, those types of things to try to gain control of her. Every time she tried to leave him, he would harass and stalk her to the point that she just felt like she had to give up and go back. And he abused her not only emotionally, financially, he abused her religiously in terms of her religion and her relationship with God.
So then, the very next day, the Daily Mail drops a bombshell when an article is released with the headline reading, quote, Mica Miller's pastor husband accused by ex-wife of committing sex acts with their children and being addicted to prostitutes. So what's all this about? Well, the Daily Mail got their hands on documents from J.P. Miller's divorce back in 2017, and they put out an article, and the claims are extremely disturbing. Here's how it reads. The first wife of Mica Miller's pastor husband accused him of committing sex acts with children under 16 and having an addiction to prostitutes, and explosive divorce papers unearthed by DailyMail.com. J.P. Miller also started an affair with Mica, who at the time was the couple's babysitter and the wife of best friend Jeremy Deese. His ex, Allison, said in an affidavit from 2017, referring to events 2 years earlier, quote, our marriage and my husband's career were less than stable at the time because at the time my husband's affair was discovered, he had previously admitted to both me and our congregation that he had an addiction to prostitution. Allison wrote this in the affidavit to support her bid for alimony. She went on to say he had also confessed to me and other staff members of the church that he had sexual encounters with young females from the church who were under the age of 16. When the defendant affair was discovered, the church leaders demanded that the defendant seek counseling for sexual addiction, she added. When he refused, the majority of our church left the congregation. Public records show that Miller married his first wife in February of 2000, and the pair started Solid Rock Ministries together shortly afterwards. She filed for divorce in 2015 with papers stating that Miller moved out of the family home on June 29th of that year, the very same day that Mica left her marital home. In an affidavit dated June 2017, Miller's first wife said, "Our separation was a result of my discovering that the defendant was having an affair with the praise and worship leader in our church, who was also the weekly babysitter of our 4 children and the wife of his best friend. His marital misconduct not only destroyed my marriage, but also caused me to lose my church family and income, along with severely damaging the relationship between the defendant and our children." The documents added that Miller allegedly confessed to his then wife and members of the church that he had sexual encounters with young females from the church who were under the age of 16. Allison's affidavit went on to say, "I agreed to work with the defendant to reach an agreement on resolving the issues of our marriage and not seek an adultery divorce, as an attempt to prevent him from having further damage in his career as a church pastor." Sources close to Mica's ex-husband Jeremy, who filed on the grounds that the marriage was, quote, "forever broken," told DailyMail.com that Miller was methodical in his betrayal of his wife and best friend. Mica's death had been ruled a suicide by officials, but those close to her are struggling to believe she would take her own life, with her family setting up a Justice for Mica campaign. The affair allegedly came to light after Miller and Mica were caught in a sexual act in 2015. One source said he had a way of taking over someone else's mind. Mica and Jeremy would spend a lot of time at the Miller household rehearsing the music for the church. It seemed kind of suspicious that they were always hanging out, always together. He always had them around. It was like JP did it underhandedly to subliminally get into her mind. Once everyone found out that he lied to our faces, we confronted him, and he sat there and denied it to our faces, that he was just friends with Mica and that was it, the source added. The majority of the church left the congregation after that, and we were shocked when we saw him with Mica and that they had gotten engaged. They got married, and it destroyed a lot of people's lives. He had her wrapped around his little finger. She would jump even when she was married to Jeremy. He did it in such a sneaky way, and she was just a very sweet person. He's a very good talker and good about getting people to do things for him, but I saw red flags. Jeremy and Mica had just bought a house, and it tore the whole thing apart. At first, Jeremy carried on going to church because he just loved God and wanted to support the cause. But eventually he stopped going. Documents also show a bitter battle between Miller and his first wife over alimony payments and child support following their split. The couple initially signed a final divorce agreement, which ruled that Miller would pay $1,200 in child support and $1,100 in alimony. Miller assured his ex-wife that she and the children would have the means to live in the marital home until the youngest of their 4 children turned 18. He only made one payment before saying he could no longer afford the court-ordered amount. Bizarrely, he claimed he had fallen out of a tree and broke his legs while trying for reconciliation with Allison. He ended up appearing in court in a wheelchair. The couple made an agreement to temporarily drop the child support payments to $900 a month when Miller argued he should not have to pay alimony because of an error in the divorce paperwork. And after a 5-month legal battle was launched in November of 2016, Miller eventually paid $3,300 in alimony in 2017. That's the whole year of 2017, y'all. However, his ex-wife accused him of manipulating his income from the church, claiming it's hard to understand how he suddenly is making less money now, with every aspect of the ministry having improved. Allison has also accused him of buying a boat, a motorcycle, and a golf cart, adding, "I do not understand how he can have these things, but not afford being able to pay alimony." Allison said she had to borrow $15,000 from her father because Miller had been failing to pay the agreed amounts. Miller responded in the filing by saying he gave her everything in the hope that they would reconcile, claiming he had no money and no place to stay. He added that his ex-wife allegedly screamed and cussed in front of the parishioners and harassed him when dropping off the children. Miller claimed her boyfriend threatened him several times. He refuted claims that he was earning more than ever in 2017, saying the stress of finances is unbearable, claiming to have borrowed $20,000 from friends. The matter was ultimately resolved with Miller agreeing to pay alimony and child support to his ex-wife. When approached by thedailymail.com, Miller's ex-wife declined to comment, saying she was hunkered down and staying quiet for the protection of her children. Court records also hinted the issues within the marriage with Mica's first filing for divorce back in October of 2023 before withdrawing the filing on February 12th. Later that same month, Miller filed against his ex-wife for separate support and maintenance in a motion withdrawn on March 11th. But on April 15th, just 12 days before Mica was found dead, Mica filed once more and, according to friends, also sought a no-contact order against her husband. Police released images and audio of Miller leading up to her death amid conjecture about the circumstances. The speculation was partly fueled by a bizarre video of Miller's husband casually informing his congregation of her death at the end of the service. And I played that for you guys last week. He said her passing was self-induced. However, evidence released by Robeson County, North Carolina Sheriff's Office as part of their investigation conclusively shows Miller plotting to end her life. Weeks before her death, she had shared a video speaking about abuse within her marriage as claims emerged that she was being harassed and was afraid for her life, and I played you that clip. She said, quote, "Today my heart's a little heavy. I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me about situations of abuse, and I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately because I think I forgot. But you are the bride of Christ before anyone else's, male or female. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse." And I mean, totally disturbing shit right there. And it does not end there. A video is also released, and this video shows J.P. Miller laying in his ex-wife's front yard. And according to the guy that posted that video back then, which was around the same time he was exposed for having an affair with Mica Miller, JP's having some sort of mental breakdown. Listen to this.
This your medication? Something they gave you? Yeah.
And I'll post that video as well on Patreon for the celebrity members. It's pretty wild. He is just laid out in the grass, literally face first in the grass, essentially bawling. It's really weird. So shortly after that comes out, remember that topless photo that was posted on Facebook of Mica shortly before her death? Well, some emails from JP to Mica were uncovered, and in one of them, he admits to doing it. And this is after he denied it over and over and over again. Here's how that email partially read, and this was from JP Miller to Mica shortly before death. Quote, "I'm sorry for putting a picture of you on the internet. It was for less than 1 hour and immediately taken down. I was hurt that you are telling everyone horrible, intimate details of my past sin, and I just wanted to try and hurt you. Please forgive me. It was evil of me to do that." And y'all, this is where media, Facebook, TikTok, and podcasts like Exposed really show their value, because it was due to all of that media pressure from what I would call alternative forms of media like this, and also to the public that listens to that alternative form of media, that the pressure got so tight for authorities as to the question of, did JP Miller contribute to the death of Mica Miller by the way of abuse she was experiencing mentally, physically, or anything else? Don't forget, razor blades and tires, nude photos being posted on the internet, tracking devices placed on her car. All this had come out by this time. Did all of that harassment cause her to end her life? The public was outraged. The public wanted to know, and everything changed for J.P. Miller because now the FBI became involved. And just remember, from that Facebook video from Mica that I played you back in episode 1, remember what she said? Here's a short refresh.
So, I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that?
Just tragic. All I can say. So let me tell you about Charlotte Corn. So Charlotte was Mica's bestie. Mica and Charlotte, they spent a ton of time together. And it comes out that J.P. Miller was insanely jealous of the relationship between Mica and Charlotte. As a matter of fact, one night in 2022, 2 years before Mica's death, J.P. allegedly asked Mica, just out of the clear blue, he asked her, quote, "If you were to kiss a girl, who would it be?" Unquote. Now, at first, Mica refused to answer the question, but J.P. presses her, and she eventually gives in. And she says, "Charlotte, I guess," because Charlotte wouldn't tell. Well, this allegedly led to a major fight between J.P. and Mica, and that fight gets so bad that Mica decides to leave the house and go to her sister's for a few days. Her sister lived just a couple hours away. It was easy to get to, and J.P. was allegedly none too happy about this. And I would say that the text messages I'm about to review with you prove it. And the weird thing about all this is that JP includes Charlotte in these text messages. Let me read this to you. First, JP sends a text. "I would leave anyone or anything for you. I'm only asking for the same respect. You can't treat someone like shit and then leave. You're supposed to work it out. Stay and do whatever it takes. Please don't be selfish this one time." And this is a sentence, and then he sends it. A sentence, and then he sends it. He goes on, "I'm literally begging you to do the right thing, the godly thing, the only thing that will work. I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart. I need you, I want you, and I don't want to sleep alone ever." Then he goes on, "But if you choose to do this, I will not beg you to come back. I won't put up with this again. This is literally your last chance to make things right. I'm just too old, too hurt, and you have put me through too much to continue letting you treat me like shit while I pay all your bills and do whatever you want. I need you to act like a godly wife this one time and prioritize your marriage over your friends, your family, and your feelings." Mica's not responding to any of this. This is just a string of text from him to Mica, and I'll continue on. "Charlotte is in this text, so she can hold me accountable for this. What you've done in our marriage this time is totally unacceptable, and no man would put up with it. But I'm willing to give you one more chance. I'm asking, 1, that you repent, 2, hear my heart and pretend like you understand why I'm hurt, 3, come home now." Then he says, "If you don't do these things that will help me feel loved, safe, and prioritized, then our marriage is officially over and I cannot allow my heart to be put through this ever again. I love you. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, but I will not be treated this way and defamed so horribly anymore. And he continues on. No response from Mica. We used to be best friends, and I'm shocked that you would throw all that away. Maybe it's because you want to live with Charlotte. Why don't you tell her why you would want to live with her? Or should I tell her? And you can tell just judging by these texts that he's getting more and more pissed off, right? Go ahead, Charlotte. Ask Mica why she would want to so badly stay with you. Please ask her. I'd love to hear how honest she is, since she threw me under the bus today with my elders after everything she has done. Again, no response from Charlotte or Mica. Then he says, by 9 a.m., there will be nothing left inside this house that has anything to do with you. If you want your clothes, shoes, jewelry, pictures, furniture, books, anything else that is attached to you, then you need to come home before 9 a.m. Everything is going to the Goodwill. This guy is so immature. And then finally, Mica responds back and she says, why are you being crazy? I just wanted to visit my sister. JP says, why put your sister before your husband? And then in all caps, that's the continual problem. Once, just once, put your husband first. Mica responds, I make 100 decisions a day to put you first. JP responds, no wife would do this to her husband in his most desperate time of need. Then he continues on, I'm coming to you. You're a horrible wife to do this. When I arrive, I'm going to raise, in all caps, hell. Sierra, Matt, Aries will be up all night. If you leave now, I'll turn around. So he's desperate to get her out of there, and he's threatening her now that I'm going to go to where you are, and I'm going to basically ruin your time and everybody else's. Michael responds, if you come here, you're trespassing. JP responds, I don't care. Ha, 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 ha. That's funny. You can call cops. You did this. And that's where those particular text strings leave off. Then immediately after this, he sends text to Sierra Francis, who is Mica's sister. And I'll read you that. He texts her and says, I'm on the way to your house. Be there at 12:55. And that would be a.m. And she responds back, we don't want drama here. That was the pretense of Mica coming for a visit, that it is just Mica alone. And then JP responds back, 3 hours away. And Sierra responds, Matthew will not let you inside. We are not doing none of that tonight. JP responds, that's fine. You can call the cops. Sierra responds, our dog can barely handle visitors as it is, let alone anything like this drama. And JP responds, and get ready for this, I'm armed, I'm ready. So that I am armed comment, not cool. And it freaked Sierra Francis out, as it would anybody. And she places a 911 call. So you're going to hear two calls here. The first call is Sierra originally reporting the threatening text that JP sent to Sierra. And the second is a follow-up call after JP follows up with more threatening text. Here's call number one.
I need to report as a non-emergency at this point.
Okay, what's going on?
My sister came here today to visit because her and her husband were having issues. She came from Myrtle. She told him she'll be home on Tuesday. And he was texting me at this point saying, I'll be at your house at 12:55. I'm armed and ready, and I will keep you up all night. I'm going to get her back.
And here's call number two, the follow-up.
Hi, I was calling. My name is Sierra Francis. I had spoke to an officer earlier today, and I didn't know, I guess, how to get back in touch with them and see if they could drive by and make sure there's not anybody outside.
Okay, where's your address at, Sooty?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you say was going on?
Daphne. I had called earlier and filed a police report with my sister about her spouse who's saying he's going to come over and that he was threatening that he had a weapons with him.
Yes, ma'am.
He said that he would be here at 12:55. GPS shows that he supposedly hasn't left Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, but he just texted her and said, you better drive down the road now. or I'm coming in, it's going to be hell to pay, like acting like he's outside. So we just want to verify that he's not.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, that's my callback.
618-6632. Okay. And you just want an officer to come out and check the roads?
Yeah, just make sure that he's not parked down at the street like he's acting like he is.
Do you know what kind of car he would be in?
He has a few, but probably is it a red Dodge truck? He has a red Dodge Ram, or it's Burgundy.
Burgundy.
What's the other car? The Challenger? Is that what it is? Oh, never mind. That should be the vehicle if he is out there.
The Burgundy Dodge truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Bear with me just for a second, sweetie. I'm just getting this information put in there, okay?
No problem. We just want to verify.
He said he's texting her threatening that he's going to kill himself.
Yeah, he said my blood is going to be on your hands. But prior to that, he was threatening to come in here, and he said, "Call the cops. I don't care. I'm armed and ready."
Okay.
Which he is. He just purchased about 6 firearms in the past couple of days.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna send you a link to your phone. If you wouldn't mind sending me pictures of these text messages, just so we have them and our officers can take a look at them.
Okay.
Just give me a second and I'll get that sent to you. And you said I'm sending this. It's a link, and there'll be a couple things that they're gonna ask you once you get the link, and then you should be able to send us a couple pictures, okay?
Okay, do you want my sister to fill it out, or like as the spouse?
It doesn't matter who.
Or do we both need to do it?
It's not like a paperwork or anything. It's just gonna ask you like a location, like it's gonna ask you to verify your location, and then you can just send those pictures, and it'll come straight to me. But the officers will also be able to see those pictures.
Okay.
How long has your sister been with you, sweetie?
She just got here at 7:30, and she was supposed to stay until Tuesday. She was supposed to meet him for a hot air balloon something in Asheville this weekend, and it was supposed to be whatever, but now he's changing the locks on the house and all kinds of stuff, so he's going to throw all her stuff in the yard. And then since she said she wasn't coming home, he said that he was going to come here, and he didn't care if he called the cops. He was going to be ready. And I did get the link. So if you want me to start filling it out while we're on the phone?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and do that, just I think it just asked for your location, and then you should be able to either take pictures of those, of like the text messages, or you might be able to like screenshot them and upload them straight from your phone that you're on now.
Okay, I'm trying to just upload them. I don't know if it's going to let me. It wants me to take pictures of them, but I can't take pictures of my text.
Is it coming to your phone, or is she texting your phone, or is she texting your sister's phone?
Both phones. He was texting me because she didn't answer.
Okay.
But I can take pictures of her phone.
That's fine. You can do that. That's whichever pictures you can send to me is helpful to the officers so they can see what he's been sending. It doesn't have to be all of them, because obviously if an officer comes out there, you can talk to him and show them in person, but like it's also good that just have them like in our records that they got sent.
She's showing me the messages that I can send you. He texted her at 12:24 and said, "Drive down the street or it's going to be hell." And then
this one says, "Why like that? I wouldn't do anything like that. My blood is on you, and my kids will know."
It's not letting me send the photos.
Okay. What is your sister's phone number?
Like a bunch of messages.
Okay. I'm gonna send it to her and see if she gets it.
It says one picture uploaded completely on my end, yeah.
I did just get, yeah.
Yes, and he's no comment.
He's not at the location that he was last at 10 o'clock. We just have somebody go back and check.
But his location on his phone says he's there.
Yeah, but his location on his phone says that he's still there, and it has been saying that all day. But our friend just checked.
I'm going to guess he probably turned off his location, just as like a precaution so you guys can't track him. What is his name?
John dash Paul, that's his like first name.
Mm-hmm.
And no middle name, last name Miller.
And what is his address?
Coldwater Circle.
Coldwater Circle. Is that two
Myrtle
words
Beach,
or is that
South
one
Carolina.
word?
Coldwater's one word, and then circle.
I did just get the picture. It's the one picture he sent me.
That's the one I just first go back to the other one.
Can you give me his phone number? What is his phone number? Okay. Has he sent any more threatening text messages to you, sweetie? Or to your sister?
You can open up.
Yeah, I think the last one it says was my blood. The last threatening type one is that my blood is on you at 12:27.
I think I'm going to tell you send it to this so that she can have the pictures that he sent me, or the messages.
What am I
No,
saying?
go to the messages she sent me with the link and take a picture of my phone because it won't let me send screenshots. It has to be photos.
What's your sister's name, sweetie?
Mica Miller, Mica Miller.
And what is your phone number, sweetie, Micah? Here, if I get quiet, I'm just talking to our officers, okay? If he sends any more text messages, just let me know.
Okay. Did I stop sending sharing my location with him?
I mean, if you want to, it might cause more problems, but you haven't left the house that you're in, so I don't know that it would be a problem, but if he stops sharing his location. What does he look like, Micah?
He's 6'2". He's Caucasian, brown hair, brown eyes. He stopped sharing his location with me.
So you said, excuse me, you said he's a white male, 6'2", brown hair, brown eyes.
That's correct.
What kind of build does he have?
He's 200 pounds. He's slim.
Okay. All right.
My husband is the exact same, but he's in bed, just so you know. I don't want the cops coming here, and then if he walks outside thinking it's him, but he's in bed, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. I've got that noted in here that he's asleep with your son. Is your son the only child in the house?
He is. I made sure before they went to bed they were in the same bed, so in case anything happened.
What did you say? You made sure what before they went to bed?
I just made sure that both of them were in the same room in case anything does happen. That way we know exactly where everybody is at.
Where are you guys at in the house?
If you're looking at the house, we're on the far right end.
Okay. Are you in a bedroom?
We are. And then the far left side of the house is the other bedroom where the other people are.
What is John Paul's date of birth, sweetie?
May 20th, 1979. He's 43.
You said 1979?
Yes. That's dumb that I'm doing this. I'm just trying to fix something.
And your husband and son, they're on the opposite side of the house?
Yes, ma'am. If you're looking at the house, they're far left. Okay. It's just a double wide trailer.
And what's your husband's name?
Matthew Brown.
Is that Brimm?
First name Matthew, last name Brown, Brown.
Y'all don't hear anything outside, and you haven't seen any lights or anything, have you?
I haven't seen lights, but we have a lot of free-range chickens and ducks, so if it's noise out there, it's kind of hard to tell what it might be. And then my dog just had 9 puppies, and they're all inside, and so it's kind of loud either way.
Okay. I just wanted to make
Sorry.
sure. No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure you didn't hear any kind of,
Yeah, I haven't heard anything abnormal, I guess is what I should say.
any kind of car or anything like loud or anything like that outside, but.
No, not that we can see, but he was texting her to, like, drive down the road. So that's why we were like, if he parked outside, because my driveway's so long, and he probably is trying not to get hit with trespassing.
Okay, I've got a couple officers on the way out there, sweetie. They're just, they shouldn't be too far. They were just coming from town. I believe they were both at the sheriff's office, but
Okay.
I promise they're coming to you. And you said he's tried to call you?
One time.
Yeah, he tried calling and then I didn't answer, so he didn't call after that. And I have a friend on the way to my house to see if he's at the house. Because he wasn't at the church, which she lives right by the church. And she's headed to our house, which is like 7 minutes away from the church.
Okay. What do you know what kind
See
of
if he's
car?
bluffing.
What kind of car your friend is in? We've got the county that you live in on the phone, trying to see if
He drives a silver, like a kind of a charcoal Palisade.
Okay.
She could be driving her husband's car though, which is a white. I see cop light.
Don't open the window.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not trying to stop you. It's just habit. If somebody's pulling into your driveway and you open your window, they'll see exactly where you are.
I mean, they're cops. I want them to see where you're safe.
I know. We're also the only room with lights on, so it's kind of obvious where we are. Oh my gosh, it's something I was so pumped because I yelled, see if we can look at it. It's hard to get that.
Okay, sweetie. If y'all hear anything, I've got my officers out there on Deer Ridge. They're going to take a look around. Do y'all want them to come up to the house and talk to you?
They're in our driveway.
Okay. If y'all want to go out there and talk to them, please go ahead and give them whatever information you have, okay?
Okay, are you going to get off the phone with us now?
I mean, I can stay on it if you want me to, but I've got 2 officers out there.
No, that's fine. They're on my porch. I can let you go and talk to them.
All right, go ahead, sweetie.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so let's get back to Mica's bestie, Charlotte, who at the time of Mica's death had actually moved to Virginia, which is north of South Carolina. Keep that in your back pocket for later. But for now, remember that announcement JP made in church of Mica's death? Well, immediately after that announcement, JP called Charlotte. And I'm going to play you a clip where Charlotte discusses that and a very odd comment that JP made while talking to her. Charlotte was interviewed here by the Robbie Harvey podcast.
He said, "Hey, Charlotte, are you surviving?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, I have some more details for you if you want them."
And did you just find it odd that he was calling you, of all people, immediately after church?
Yes. For one, he had already told us in his weird way. But then I just felt like I would not be up on the priority list of people to be reaching out to, especially having already been told.
And I want to clarify, this was before he saw Mica's body, right?
Correct.
So after that, the conversation kind of takes a turn, and John Paul says something that I believe will break this case wide open. What is it that he said to you?
Well, I said, yes, sure, I'd like some more details, I suppose. And he said, well, she was supposed to go to work, but instead she went and bought a gun and then drove up to Lumberton. I thought she was coming to see you. And he paused there, and I just said, no, she wasn't.
So John Paul said on the day Mica Miller died that he thought she was coming to see you.
Building your custom home is now easier than ever. And with America's Home Place, we can show you how. During our 50 years as a...
Yep. And it honestly kind of sent a shiver down my spine because it just sounded like he was watching her.
So you believe that moments before Mica died, John Paul Miller was tracking her?
That is how it sounded, the way that he phrased it. And just knowing in the past how there have been trackers involved, and he has had a habit of stalking her. That's what it sounded like to me.
So let's talk speculation real quick. And there's a bunch of it surrounding this case. And one of the theories, if you will, surrounds AI, artificial intelligence. Now, there are a ton of great things that you can do with AI, but there are also some pretty despicable things that you can do as well. As a matter of fact, not too far in the distant past, I covered a case on another podcast where a mother received a call from an individual, and this individual demanded ransom money, stating that he kidnapped this mother's daughter. Now, the mother wanted proof of this, making sure it wasn't a crank call, right? She wasn't going to send $50,000 just because the guy says, I kidnapped your daughter. So the kidnapper put the daughter on the phone. Just one problem there. It wasn't her daughter, though she thought it was. AI was able to reproduce the voice so perfectly that even her own mother could not tell the difference. Now, many people speculate that 911 call was actually AI. And if you listen to that 911 call that Mica made, the suicide call, I got to be honest, something does sound off about it. It just lacks the emotion you would expect. It almost seems robotic. It doesn't sound robotic, but it seems robotic. Just no emotion in it. But that's just speculation. It does lead me to J.P. Miller's attorney, a guy by the name of Tom Winslow, who is also a member of Solid Rock Church. Now, Tom, according to published reports, is not only very familiar with AI, but according to South Carolina News, he also owns somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 acres of land near the national park where Mica was found. Does that mean he has anything to do with anything related to Mica Miller and her death? Of course not. But it did raise a lot of eyebrows, and still does to some people. Mica Miller's own father has also brought up some eyebrow-raising points to consider. Now, according to her father, no autopsy was done of Mica. No gun residue test was done. Why were 2 empty shell casings found at the scene? According to her father, J.P. Miller refused to allow the family to see the body unless they signed a certificate of cremation agreeing to cremate Mica. And that cremation that they signed was done within days of her death, which is really fast. Her father even offered up some reasoning as to why she would purchase a gun. A lot of people said, well, why would she get the gun? Well, according to her father, she mentioned to him prior to her death that due to the way JP was acting, she felt she needed it for protection. All of these questions that not only were those of Mica's family and her close friends, but questions that the general public, they were asking themselves as well. And look, suicide's a hard thing to accept when you're a family. I get that. But there are some questions here that seem unanswered. Now, I got one more piece of information for you to discuss today. And that is the role Susie Skinner played in this story. Remember Susie, the one whose husband was the paraplegic who died via drowning? The one whom Mica was convinced that JP was having an affair with? Well, just 4 days after Mica's death, a picture was taken by someone who was a former member of Solid Rock Church and at one time was very good friends with Mica and JP. And her name was Angela Clark. And she explained how this picture that quite honestly shocked the world. I'll put that picture also on the Patreon for the celebrities. She explained how that picture came about. Listen to this.
We walked back through the mall and exited up near where the restaurant was. And as we were walking toward our car, because the mall was closed, there weren't many cars there. I would say maybe 5, 6 cars in the area that we were parked. And as we walked toward the car, I looked up and there was a car with a Solid Rock sticker on the back of it. And I remember clearly thinking, God, what are you trying to say right now? I just need a break from this right now. You know, my heart was hurting. And as I looked up, I saw the profile of a man and realized very quickly that it was John Paul. I did not know the woman that was with him, but it was clear that there was a very serious conversation going on. They were standing very closely together. It was disturbing to me. I had been told about Susie by Mica. I do not know Susie. I did not know what she looked like. I didn't know anything about her. But my husband just kind of squeezed my hand and said, you know, let's just get in the car. As we were backing out, I told my husband to stop for a second, and I just snapped the picture really quickly, more out of curiosity whether this was the woman that Mica had shared with me she felt like John Paul was having an affair with. And I sent it to someone who would know, and to find out if that was who it was, because it was clear. One man, one woman, kind of an intimate looking setting in a parking lot, very serious conversation. To me, as her friend, it went all over me. I was very upset. As we backed out, he looked up right when I snapped the picture. I don't know that he knew it was us. He would have known us. I mean, we were very much in their lives. We did life with them when we were at the church. So we traveled together. We had dinner together. We did things together. So he would have known us. But as we backed out, John Paul kind of ran between the cars closer toward our car, kind of threw his hands up like he was disgusted.
Now, after JP noticed that this picture was taken, JP jumps in his truck and he starts to follow Angela and her husband. And
as we pulled out, the truck ran up on our bumper. We made the left. The truck made the left. He followed us around that frontage road, following us very closely on our bumper. Now, you have to realize this is a completely empty parking lot. And, you know, there's part of me, I know that my friend has been shot in the head. I don't know the details of her death at this point. I do know the stories that I was being told by her. And my husband's ex-police. He's not scared of John Paul. I mean, he knows how to handle himself in every situation. He's pretty good at it. And he was pretty angry, you know, that he was following us like that. And I mean, let's face it, emotions were raw. We were raw. You know what I mean? Mica had come back into our lives, you know, within that last month. And we had not seen her or been around her other than just cordially social, you know, just in public settings, hugged her neck, you know, that kind of thing. And we had really connected. She was going to church with us. She was, Mica was doing well. So I was really in a bad place with her death. I just, knowing the stories that she had been telling me and how rough things had been for her, I just didn't want a confrontation with John Paul.
So there you have it. And next week, we will continue with this investigation into Mica's death. What role did JP play physically or mentally And what this is setting the stage for, absolutely shocking turn of events. So get ready for that. Thank you so much to all the celebrity members on Patreon who make it possible for me to even look into these cases every week. Without y'all, I could not do this. So thank you so very much. And please consider supporting the show on Patreon. I promise you're going to get your money's worth. Commercial-free early releases, bonus episodes, quarterly gifts, files, all kinds of stuff, and you can join for as little as $2.50 a week. So hopefully you'll find it worth it. I know you will. Thank you so much to all of you who already support me on Patreon. And until next time, for Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.